All right, folks, we have a Mega 3 Storm Team yellow weather alert. Want to get you updated on what's happening weather-wise. Hope you're having a nice Friday evening. The weather's been spectacular here today. Think we're going to see some changes, though, as we get into your Saturday. First, I want to talk about is the parade forecast. We have the crew of Gemini going on. It's been moved up, as you probably know by now, 2 hours because of the threat of lightning from some thunderstorms. And I think it's going to be okay. Can't rule out some showers for you, but I think the thunderstorms will probably stay in East Texas during the course of the early afternoon. The late afternoon, though, I think they'll be heading toward Louisiana. And by evening, I think Louisiana will be under the gun. At least Shreveport will be. But I think as we get through most of the afternoon. I think it'll just be a few spotty showers. I don't think it'll rain the whole time, but some scattered showers there are mostly cloudy skies. As we head into the latter part of the weekend, we have the Crew of Highland Parade there on Sunday, and we're on the backside of this weather system, but the upper level part is still passing through as we make it through Sunday morning. So we may still have a few areas of drizzle, low clouds, perhaps a shower or two. Sometimes, even with these very cold upper atmospheric weather systems that have a lot of elevated instability, you can get some thunderstorms. I don't see that being the case, but a couple of showers, and then I think the weather turns out okay as we get into the latter part of the parade. I think it's just kind of, just not as bad as it could be. I guess you just take it like that, and I think folks will still enjoy the parade. Crew of Dionysus. Should be just fine, I think. By then, the whole storm system as well, east of the Arctic by that also has been moved back a day to Sunday at 6 p.m. It was supposed to be Saturday, but Saturday at 6 p.m., I think you would have some trouble with some rain in your area. So looking pretty good there, Natchitoches there for Sunday. All right, today, your Friday. Well, Friday was a decent day. Got up to 79. Average high this time of year, according to the Shreveport National Weather Service, is 62. The low was 46 this morning, and we were above average there on that too. Records. How about that -3 back in 1899? That was a record for the record books, no doubt about it. Weather Watch reports got a few here. Just want to name these folks out, and we're going to certainly use their information to help keep folks safe there for tomorrow evening as the storms roll on through there. Birth of night in Nashville, Arkansas, 72 today, 73 for Joyce Sproles and Ozan. Chuck Ham there in Redwater at 76. We had Reed Eisenhower in Texarkana earlier today at 71. The perfect biblical number there for Mr. Brian Loper, Atlanta, Texas, 77. Got 78 for Vic Scarborough and Ida, Louisiana there. Bob Finchers in fabulous downtown Bellevue made it to the 80s today. Oh, about 6 degrees cooler for Wayne Hatfield over in the Homer area. Looking at a high of 76. A little bit farther south, we had the mid-70s for June Jones, Elysian Fields, Francis Moody up at Cypress Lake, Kay Berry and Stonewall there at 79, and 70, Gary Battlefield over in the Elm Grove area. Sent a nice picture in, lives over there near the lake. Had a nice little place setting there with the moss on the trees in the background. Really nice. Anyway, long story short, thank you, Mr. Battlefield, for your information there. And we got Barry Howard in Clarence, Louisiana at 82 degrees and low 80s for Gary Stratton and Blanchard today. Mike Lyles in Shreveport, and close to that for the Benton area, Randall Elliott and Molly Rankin. And then Ronnie Hull in Shreveport had 81, and Mark Potter in Bossier City at 79. Thank you, Weather Watchers, for that information today. Got quite a few reports there, and it'll be certainly nice to get some information for tomorrow's that storm, at least the potential of that storm, the forecast. It'd be good to get some representation there for tomorrow. So thank you in advance, Weather Watchers there. All right, current automated temperature, 66 in Shreveport, 68 in Texarkana, the mid-60s over in Carthage, 61 in Manning, 65 over in the Ruston area. So certainly a warm start to the night. Starting to see a little bit of rain up in McCurtain County there over toward Paris, Texas. Starting to develop, and that's in advance of our storm that's starting to move into New Mexico now. Most of this rain is not reaching the ground. The observation site's not showing it up there. But as night goes along the I-30 corridor, your rain chance picks up pretty good there. You're looking at the chance of measurable rain at 50%. So it's a flip of a coin, but the odds are getting better that you'll get something measurable tonight. Much lesser chances you get down towards Shreveport or Natchitoches for tonight. Now, tomorrow, I think by tomorrow, toward the end of the day, you're looking at pretty solid, near 100% probability of measurable rain in the I-30 area, and getting close to that just about everywhere else by the latter part of the day once the system starts cranking up. And then once we get into the evening hours, it's a good 100% probability of measurable rain Arclitex wide. So the numbers reflect the chance of something measurable. In other words, 1/100th of an inch is considered measurable there, enough to wet the ground, perhaps give you a little puddle. And I think we'll have at least that, if not a lot more, in some locations. And it's due to this storm that's out in it's Arizona working into New Mexico now, and it's a strong storm. It has a very amplified dip in the jet stream, very amplified what we call a trough, and so there's a lot of dynamics there, especially as you head east. You see the green and the bright white colors there, all over toward New Mexico, Colorado, Kansas, Oklahoma, Texas, down into Mexico. So you got a strong jet stream going over those areas, but also you got dynamics to where the flow is splitting and you're getting some lift in the atmosphere. And that's pretty much how you get the rain. You get that lift, the air cools, condenses, forms the clouds, makes the rain. And then, of course, if you get thunderstorm activity, if the lift's strong enough overall, you'll with other, surface features that help to kick up those thunderstorms, you're looking at one of the ingredients you need to make the potential there for severe weather. And the Storm Prediction Center seems to think severe weather could occur. Now, here's a surface low developing in southern Colorado, according to this map. And we're going to have one of the surface lows kind of develop up that way. So that may be starting to come to fruition there. And then work on down toward the Arclitex and just cut right across the northern part of the Arclitex, putting a good deal of our area in the warm sector where it's unstable enough to give us some nasty storms. So here's the jet stream forecast. So that little system, that very strong system out west, it comes our way. That little dashed line is just a indication of a trough. The little trough looks like a watering horse for horses or whatever, watering bucket for horses. Anyway, it comes across our area tomorrow evening, and then it's out of here by Sunday evening. And as that system pulls through, that's when things could get interesting because we got a lot of things going on there. So we got the dynamics of that system we were just talking about, the lift in the atmosphere, but also you have spin in the atmosphere too, and that is the rotational wind shear. But also you have a part of the jet stream that's speeding up through that trough, and so you got the speed shear. So you got you got a lot of wind shear. This is a very strong wind sheared setup here that there's enough to get you going on any kind of storm. We're lacking a little bit. We got plenty of moisture, and especially by that time, but we're lacking a little bit of the instability, what we call CAPE or convective area of potential energy. And you got to have that. You got to have a pretty good quantity of that to get you through to make some nasty storms and bring all the ingredients together to give you severe weather. But we got enough shear to overcome that lack of instability to help make some isolated tornadoes there, and a couple of different types too. The type in East Texas and back over toward Central Texas could be the supercell type. The type that once the system gets a little more mature and is pulling through our area, we'll see the storms kind of lining up along a dry line, and but you'll get some of the segments that bow out due to some accelerations in the upper atmospheric winds going through the storms, like the rear flanking downdrafts. Bottom line is when the storms start spreading out, you'll get some spin ups around the front end of the storm. We call those QLCS type tornadoes. And so that's kind of what we usually have at night around the Arclitex. And oftentimes these storms come rolling through 50, 60 miles an hour and spin up one of those type tornadoes. They'll last about 5 minutes, but they can do some serious damage. So the bottom line is those two type tornadoes could occur south of I-20 where the highest instability is as we get into tomorrow evening. That's the way it looks right now. Storm Prediction Center and the Shreveport National Weather Service are a bit concerned about that tornado threat, and they indicate where you see the yellow color there that the highest risk for tornadoes will be in that area. That also means a slight risk of severe weather. This may change by tomorrow. Northern sections, it's a marginal risk, and you're really low on the instability once you get up that way, and and pretty much the Cape is really cut off. But it's interesting to watch this thing unfold. At least on paper, it looks like it could be a little nasty for us. Here's our precision cast. So this is the big scale. I got the surface low there. That's the dry line west of Austin. The warm front's already passed through, so we're already in the warm sector, and this is by 5 o'clock tomorrow. And the computer model shows the thunderstorms in East Texas, Northeast Texas, up in Arkansas and Oklahoma. And the bright red colors indicate, heavier precipitation, and the yellow is a moderate. And of course, when you see the red too, that means a pretty strong storm. And so this is about 5 o'clock in the afternoon. Here's 10 o'clock, and notice that everything's kind of congregating into a line there as it approaches Louisiana. And the surface low is right around I-20. So that area there's quite a bit of spin there. There's a lot of convergence right there as it spins. And that area on down toward Toledo Bend could be prime company for severe weather, including those tornadoes. North of that, you got the warm front, and we could see the rain storms really congregate around that boundary and give you some very heavy rain. So it's potentially a pretty tough situation for us if this comes to fruition. It's still a forecast, but it's looking a little more likely here this evening about this going on. And then once that system's out of here, this is Sunday afternoon, still some clouds around. Sunday won't be the prettiest of days as the upper level system rolls through slowly during the day Sunday, in the back end of it. But here's a little closer examination. Okay, and I'm using a GFS model here. Other folks are probably using some of the shorter term models like HRRR and what have you. But GFS does good in this part of the country, and it shows you a bunch of blobs on the map, but that's about the best you can do this far out. You can't approximate the exact location of one storm, but you can get a general idea with this medium range model where stuff is going to be at, where the storms will be at. So anyway, here's about 7 a.m. on your Saturday, a little bit of patchy fog and drizzle possible, a few showers up in the I-30 corridor, and that rain continues on as we get into the lunch hour tomorrow. Northwest Louisiana, not too bad. There still could be a little shower activity here and there due to the instability at that time. We're getting close to peak heating, and the atmosphere is getting rather ripe out there. The upper atmosphere is getting a little bit colder, and so the instability is increasing. And so you probably get some pop-up showers rolling across our area. And then the storms, more organized activity where the dynamics are stronger, start showing up there. According to the model, that's 5 o'clock in the afternoon, and extending across the northwest part of the Arklatex there. And so this is about 10 o'clock. And notice how it kind of forms into a line, but the line's accelerating. There's parts of the line that are bulging out there. And that's where you run into that problem with those QLCS type tornadoes, and very strong wind gusts too, in a straight line fashion. And so there's a lot, we're looking at all modes of severe weather. You got the strong damaging winds, even the very heavy rain too, flash flooding type rains. The hail threat is there, and of course the two types of tornadoes. And especially by this time of the situation, it's probably more of a QLCS tornadic threat. So anyway, we got that business passing through there at 10. And then after midnight, it's gone, and it looks like by the time we get into Sunday, clouds are still hanging tough, starting to clear from northwest to southeast. But yeah, Sunday won't be the prettiest of days, but it won't be anything like it looks on paper for the Saturday afternoon, Saturday night affair. Rain amounts, according to the model, a couple inches perhaps. Heaviest may be up in the northern part of the area where the northern part of that surface storm is. Where the warm front is at, congregating along that boundary or in that area where you've got that lift, that prolonged lift. And elsewhere, pretty good downpours. And I think these storms could have very good rain rates too, because we'll have plenty of moisture to work with by then. Lows tonight, okay, probably the upper 50s for the most part, and highs in the lower 70s for tomorrow. So a little cooler than today. Increased cloud cover. The gradient wind picking up outside of these storms. So pretty breezy to windy day there. And of course, near the storms, some of that jet stream energy could translate into some strong gusty winds out of the storms. Chance during the day, a good probability of measurable rain, high of 73. And then a slight possibility of something measurable on Sunday. And could be a little bit of drizzle or a stray shower for the morning. And then next week looks good. We're looking at high temperatures in the 70s to the lower 80s, very spring-like. Nighttime lows close to 60 degrees, and that's well above average for this time of year. But I think after that big ice storm, a lot of folks are probably ready for spring, just not the nasty spring storms that are possible tomorrow afternoon and evening. All right, folks, let's see. We got about 45 minutes before we come back to see you. It'll be on KPXJ CW21 News at 9. And then once again, we'll be on at 10 on KTBS Channel 3. So we appreciate you watching. Have a nice evening and enjoy your Mardi Gras weekend. Just be careful tomorrow, especially and your Valentine's too. Be careful tomorrow evening with those storms out there. And of course, we'll be here to let you know all about them. Chief Meteorologist Patrick Dennis, you got Meteorologist Skip Cordis, and Meteorologist Brian Fowler. We'll be here for you to keep you up to date and keep you safe. Have a nice evening, folks.